Hi class, I want to talk about just using some very, very basic light editing settings in Lightroom today. So this is not going to be an overview of everything, but I'm going to briefly mention that we have the histogram pulled up on the top left hand of our screen. And so that's basically just kind of a photo chart. And we talk about this in class, but basically we don't want to see a super tall spike on the far left side of the histogram or a super tall spike on the far right side of the histogram. That would indicate something related to probably over or under exposure. Otherwise, within the histogram, we want to it's not going to be the end all be all, but we want to use it with also what we're looking at in the photo to determine what's a good one. So I picked this one because it's a little bit, the histogram's a bit on the left, and it probably is a little bit dark, underexposed in certain spots, especially on the edges of the photo. And we're kind of a little washed out in the center with the sunset. But let's see if we can adjust some things here. So I'm only going to be messing with the light settings. So exposure is basically we can either overexpose the photo and watch that histogram go to the right, or underexpose it and get really dark. So maybe if this was what I want, I go a little bit extra on the exposure. Contrast is like the difference between the darks and the lights. So you notice when I do this one, it's going to put a kind of a spike on either end of the graph if I overexpose, or I do a lot of contrast. And if I do less contrast, it's going to kind of move the graph to the middle. Now, if we go too much, everything's just going to kind of get white and boring. So I would maybe go a little bit down in the contrast to pull some things in, just on the histogram and what I think would look good. Highlights here, we kind of go either way here, maybe a little bit down. Honestly, I'd probably leave this alone if it was my photo or I want to do something. Shadows, we can either bring it up or down. So if we want kind of the highlight the sunset and we don't want the trees to be very obvious, you can maybe bring the shadows down. Could kind of do whatever you want for what you think would be best for a photo. The whites is going to make the whites in the photo darker, or excuse me, brighter, I should say, not darker. My bad there. And you'll notice we get really overexposed on our photo there if we crank it all the way up. Now I'm going to the extreme. And then the blacks would be making the dark portions of our photos less or more if we go less. So it's going to bring out those dark spots and it's going to underexpose the photo. So I would maybe bring those somewhere in the middle. Doesn't really matter too much. So you can mess around with this on photos. I'm not going to be super, super picky at this point and like you have to be perfect. Oh, excuse me, my battery there. Just try to mess around and see what you think. But I'm going to show you one other thing. So I want you to, for this assignment, is take a photo, do your own edits, use the histogram to kind of think what you think would be a good, nice balance of not too overexposed, not underexposed, just a nice balance. Do what you think is a nice balance. Then you can revert, you can save that as it is, so you can upload that, and then revert it to import, and then you can come up here where it says edit auto, and just hit the auto button, see what Lightroom does automatically. So this is what Lightroom did automatically for mine. A little overexposure there, not much of the highlights. It definitely brought the shadows up, and the histogram moved slightly to the right, but nothing aggressive. So save the normal photo, your edits that you like, what you think makes the photo look good, and then also do the auto method to see what Lightroom thinks is good and to compare those numbers to what you thought was good, okay? So that's gonna be your assignment. Do that for 3 photos and upload all of them to a Google Drive folder and submit that on Canvas. Thank you.